Hey guys, how are you guys doing today? I know it is summertime and I wanted to pop on here to introduce you guys to a resource that I have available for students, which is our math toolkit. So today I'm going to be going over adding and subtracting mixed numbers. And most people have been taught when it comes to mixed numbers to rewrite fractions into improper fractions in order to solve. But this here should be a nice introduction into how to really work with fractions and keep them in their original form and manipulate them in order to solve in the most efficient way. So, look at that. I opened up to the right page. So let's dive in. So we're adding and subtracting mixed numbers. So I'm going to do about 3 or 4 problems, and we are going to take it up a notch each time. So let's start out. Um, let's start out with, let's see. I have some problems to the side here. All right, looks like we're going to dive straight in with something that is going to be a little complex, but let's do it. So we got 2 1/3 plus 3 4/5. So the way that this resource is set up, we got our whole numbers on the left side. We have our fractions on the right side. So one tip that it says down here is don't forget you must have a common denominator when you are adding or subtracting fractions. So over here, I'm going to add these fractions, but before I can do that, I need to have a common denominator. So I think to myself, all right, what is a multiple of 3 that is also a multiple of 5? And the answer is 15. So my common denominator is going to be 15. So then I think, okay, how did I go from 5 to 15? Well, this was 5 times 3. So if I do the bottom, I have to multiply the top by 3. So that'd be 12. And then we would do the same thing here. And we get 1 times 5, which is 5. All right, so now we are able to add these fractions because they have common denominators. So 5/15 plus 12/15 is going to give you 17/15. Okay, now here's the thing, 17/15 is bigger than a whole. So that's already a red flag for me. And I know I'm going to have to do an additional step. But for now, I'll just go ahead and 2 plus 3 is 5. But we can't leave it like that because 17 out of 15 is an improper fraction. So here's where you need to ask yourself, okay, 17 out of 15 is actually one whole, right? Because 15/15 would be a whole. And what's left over? Well, 16, 17, 2/15. So we need to add 5 plus 1 plus 2/15. Okay? And that equals 6/2/15. Okay? 6 and 2/15. So that is how you use this resource. You do have to be careful to make sure that you are not left with these improper fractions. Another thing you can do is you could have carried the 1 over here, but it just depends on the student's level of understanding, whether they can do that all in one step or if they need to take an additional step to complete that. So I'm just realizing my eraser is not that close by. So I'm going to go grab that. All right, let's do another problem. So we are able to easily erase from our math toolkit, and if necessary, you may want to use something like this, you know, every now and again. Depends on how much you're using it. All right, let's do another example. This example is 1 1/2 plus 2 2/5. So this skill is introduced to students in 4th grade, and then they see it again in 7th grade as they begin to add and subtract rational numbers. So in 4th grade, you'll see this without any negative numbers, but then you'll see it again in 7th grade with negative numbers. All right, again, so if I need to add fractions, I need common denominators. So I'm thinking, what's a multiple of 2? That's also a multiple of 5. Well, that's going to be 10. 5 times 2 is 10, so 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 5 is 10, so 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, we're going to add our fractions. So 5 tenths plus 4 tenths is 9 tenths. And 1 plus 3 is 3. Okay, and there we have it, 3 9 tenths. That nothing's improper about this. We're good to go. So the nice thing about using graphic organizers is it takes one step out of the student's process of like they can get comfortable with the structure while also in able to focus on like really the content itself. And then later when they're working on a problem like this on their own, this is just a T-chart. This is just put whole numbers on this side and fractions on this side. All right, we got 3 2/3 plus 4 3/4. All right, so again, we need common denominators. So what is a multiple of 3? That's also a multiple of 4. Well, that would be 12. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 2 is 8. All right, so again, we are adding here. So 8 plus 9 is going to give you 17 twelfths. Again, I can already tell that's an improper fraction. So something I can do off to the side, I can say 17 twelfths is actually equal to 12 twelfths and 5 twelfths, right? So that means that's one whole. I can carry the 1 over here and leave this as 5 twelfths. And now when I add 1 plus 3 plus 4, that's going to give me 8. So 8 5 twelfths. So there you have it. We did 3 examples together. We did all adding. So let's do one more with subtracting. All right. So our next problem is 3 3/4 minus 1 1/3. Okay. So now we're subtracting. So the thing about subtraction, okay? The thing about subtraction. So first of all, when we're subtracting fractions, we also need common denominators. So we're going to do that first. So our common denominator is going to be 12. 3 times 4. So 1 times 4 is 4. And 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. All right, so here we are subtracting. Now, luckily this first one is not too complicated. So we're going to do it straight up and down. 9/12 minus 4/12. That would be 5/12. And 3 minus 1 is 2. Boom, we're done. Okay. I want you to think about if you were to be turning these into improper fractions, how many steps it takes to turn that back into a mixed number. I'm sorry, turn a mixed number into an improper fraction. That requires you to multiply both of the mixed numbers, add them, and then turn them back into mixed numbers. Definitely a strategy, but this one here is more similar to just what you do when you're adding and subtracting decimals. All right. But this one was straight up and down, but we're going to do another subtraction problem so you can see one nuance for subtracting mixed numbers. All right. So we got 5 2/5 minus 1 1/2. Again, if I am subtracting fractions, they need common denominators. So we're going to make that denominator 10. 2 times 5, so 1 times 5. And 5 times 2, so 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so here's what I wanted to chat about. So now when we're subtracting, we need to subtract the bigger number from the smaller. So we can't subtract 4/10 from 5/10. So that means just like we do when we have whole numbers or decimals, we're going to borrow from the whole. Okay, so when we borrow one whole, we're left with 5. And what's one whole? Well, one whole is 10/10. Okay, so we borrowed one whole, it turns into 10/10. Now, what is 4/10 plus 10/10? That's 14/10. Now we can subtract because we have that bigger number here. So 14/10 minus 5/10 is going to give you 9/10. And then 4 minus 1 is 3. So your answer is 3 9/10. I hate how low I wrote that 9/10. Okay, 3 9/10. Okay, so this is a resource that, you know, if you wanted your child to practice a skill, this is a way to do it. And so we are curating videos to go with our math toolkit because some skills, they will benefit from seeing how it's used, like this one, for instance, right? Like borrowing from that whole is like a huge skill that is going to help them continue to understand what they're doing when they're adding and subtracting decimals. But yeah, this is our pre-algebra math toolkit. So again, this is a skill that 7th graders have to do. And this resource is filled with more rules and examples. So for instance, when your child has to find the slope from 2 points, different skills. So I am glad you were able to tap in. Hey, Ronette, thanks for joining. I'm glad you guys were able to tap in and get some listen to how to add and subtract mixed numbers. I hope it was helpful. I hope that you guys learned something that your team could use. And if you want a copy of just the adding, subtracting mixed numbers, go ahead and comment below and let me know, and I'll send that over to you. And if you want your copy of our math toolkit, just comment below and I will send you the link. But thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to jumping on here again next week. Bye.